Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. We're live here at Adventure Unknown. If you haven't been out to Adventure Unknown, you're here in St. Louis. We'd love the opportunity to show you around. You can see the awesome podcast studio we have here where we do every single podcast that comes to you live on Thursday mornings. We are working with Punchline Productions, so they've taken great care of us in this transition of coming over here. And you can see the space, but you can also see all the amenities that we have here at Adventure Unknown. Also learn a little bit more about what this community is, learn a little bit more about what we have going on, and meeting some great people. Today, I'm actually joined by a fellow AU member, someone I've known for a few years now. We got connected online, as many people. We knew a lot of the same people here in St. Louis, though, as St. Louis is obviously a very, very small place. Over the past few years, he's been a client, and is a client that I actually love to work with just because of his take on entrepreneurship and business and branding, and we'll get into some of that stuff here today. They've expanded a ton since he and I first met, and they're really just getting started, so we'll discuss that and much more. Today's guest is John Morgan with Premium Kitchen and Bath. John, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Adam. Glad to be here.
I've been looking forward to this episode because obviously I know you guys are doing a lot of building, right? But I want to go back to kind of where things got started. So tell us a little bit about how you got into entrepreneurship, where that bug kind of started, and everything from there.
Well, I think it goes way back to like even as a child, right? Going out and being having the grass cutting business, the snow removal, just hustling, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of it probably stemmed from my dad, just encouraged me to get out there and do my own thing. He was in construction, so he'd come home, broken back, hunched over, and just like, whatever you do, don't grow up and do what I do, right? And I kind of took that to heart. But I started in the mattress and furniture business back in like 2011, 2012. But the cabinetry side of things really took off probably within the last 8 to 10 years, and so I think it's just, I've had corporate jobs. I made a great employee, but when I looked at my life 20, 30 years down the road, I was like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? And I had a great job, paid well, great hours, but I felt like there was more to it. And so when you first start off, you have no idea what you're doing. You're just flying by the seat of your pants. And I think now we've got a great team of people that help us run the business, and we're growing like crazy. Yeah.
So you talk about, because my dad was a lawyer, and he always told me, like, Adam, you do not want to do this. You don't want to run your own business. He told me that multiple times, and I did it anyway. But he's like, hey, you don't want to do this. But I came from a family of entrepreneurs. My grandparents owned a bakery. My other grandpa was an architect. And so like, I think part of what we learn is like, hey, like I would take certain things and say, hey, I would just do that differently. So how have you kind of taken, whether it's from growing up or just like, obviously I know you were at Hermosi stuff a couple of weeks ago. How have you just taken what you've learned from other people to say, hey, this is what I'm trying to build and mold it into my own?
Yeah. I feel like the mindset is, for me at least, is if I see somebody doing it, I'm like, I can do that, right? And I'm going to try to do it better. I'm just competitive by nature. Yeah. So I think it's that, but then also like, I don't try to recreate the wheel. There's so much information out there nowadays that you can just look at what other people are doing and go, I can just pick and choose different pieces of what Hermosi or Martel or Forsell or all these, call them influencers, big entrepreneurs, and just go, hey, how do I apply that to what I'm doing? My father was the opposite though. He was like, don't do this, right? Go do something else. It didn't come from entrepreneurship family, but it was very encouraging to, hey, there's more to it. Don't do what I'm doing, go do something else. Yeah. And that was something just resonated me and stuck with me for a long time. So I didn't grow up around a bunch of entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So then with the brand itself, as far as how you guys started, walk us through kind of the evolution of the premium brand over the years.
Yeah. So we actually started at Far Below Retail, which is mattress and furniture. Then we were Premium Cabinets. Okay. We just did cabinets. Yep. But as we grew the cabinetry business, we noticed in the market there was a big shortage of good contracting companies, people to actually do the work. And that undertaking was, it was quite extensive. It was a big financial investment. You bring in a lot more people, and you're responsible for the performance of the project. Yeah. But we felt like that was a service that our clients were we're needing. Somebody trustworthy and reliable. They're writing some pretty sizable checks. And you always hear those horror stories about contractors running off with money or taking a deposit, not finishing the work, or just doing shoddy work. And that was our number one headache. We would get complaints about that. So we just, we actually rebranded about a year ago. It was August of 2024 into Premium Kitchen and Bath. Redid a website, right, which you helped us with, obviously. But it was we wanted to tell a better story about who we were because we were more than just cabinets.
Yeah.
So Premium Cabinets was good, and it was a nice stepping stone. It got us to where we were, but it was more than just cabinets, and we just wanted to be able to tell that story. So we just rebranded to Premium Kitchen and Bath and launched a whole new website and a whole new name.
And I think one of the things, obviously, like I've been following your stuff for a long time, even before we were doing work together, is like anytime you go into Facebook groups in the local community or somebody, like I see your guys' stuff tagged everywhere, right? So like what I'm hearing is you guys had that solid foundation, you saw an opportunity in the market, and with the brand equity you'd already built, the know, like, and trust from so many people, you're like, hey, like it would be foolish of us not to serve our clients and open up to a wider base. How, as the entrepreneur, you mentioned having to invest more money and bring on more teams. How have you leveled up from, hey, we're just doing cabinets to now we got a lot more stuff going on?
Well, I think there's a saying out there, so like who do I need to become to get to where I want to go? I guess, and I'm not gonna butcher this, right? It's like I know based on where I want to go, who do I need to become to get there, right? And so I think it's a lot. I just really enjoy personal development, a lot of reading and stuff. And again, it's not all me, right? We have like 26 or 27 employees right now. We like to call them team members, right? Because it's like they're building with us. So it's not all on me anymore. But I as you grow, add people, take on more services, product offerings, you need to change as a leader, right? You just have to transform kind of almost into something else. I think the biggest struggle was going from working in the business to working on the business. And all business coaches and mentors were like, dude, you got to get out of the business. And that was really hard. And it's still a struggle for me because I want to get in there and do. But again, they got to trust the team. And then they're now realizing, hey, we need him to work on bigger things. Let's not put more stuff on his plate. So I think that's been a big help as we've grown to say, hey, how should I spend my time? And then again, empowering and trusting team to do their jobs, their work.
I think anybody that cares about not just their company, but their team and their clients and their brand, like struggles with that, right? And it's also a sign of somebody that like can actually do, not somebody that's just like, hey, I'm going to own this company and then completely walk away. So I think it's a struggle that most people, if they haven't dealt with it yet to a breaking point, they're going to get there. Transitioning a little bit to kind of how you guys have grown. So I know we talked a little bit about just like expanding services, all those different things. Talk to us about whether it's been stuff in the community, networking, kind of how have you built the brand to where it's at today?
Well, you mentioned like the Facebook thing. Social media, no matter what media you're using, has taken networking to a whole different level. You don't have to physically be in rooms. I do think there's still value to getting in front of people and shaking hands. But, when you talk about going into those Facebook groups and seeing all of those recommendations, that's years of what I call dripping or flirting and just engaging in those groups and trying to provide value first. And I think that's where people get it wrong, is like they try to take. How do I get more referrals? How do I get more out of this group versus serving? And so, hey, how do I provide value to this group? And that's what we've done. So I think that it's not one avenue. It's the social presence, the social engagement, all those recs. It's the in-person, it's the marketing and advertising. It's all of those things now cohesively working together. And I think that's helped us the most.
Well, and kind of what you mentioned is like, it is the long game, right? And I was telling this to a bunch of marketers the other day. They were asking like, hey, how did you restart your agency and grow so quickly? I said, it was the first 4 years of me building that brand. And I said, there are people, and I'm sure you see it in the contracting space. There have been people when I started, in the middle, and right now that will no longer, like those people that when I started and in the middle, that are no longer around from a marketing agency standpoint because they were growing so quickly and they were screwing people over, but they were really good influencers and marketers of their own stuff. But all that stuff, if you don't do the right thing, if you don't actually build know, like, and trust, if you're not providing value, it's going to catch up to you at some point. And I know that's to be true in the contracting space, where it's like, hey, like, so many people are like, man, I got to get these projects right now, and I got to cut corners here, and I got to do that. So how have you just continued to say, hey, like, whether it's core values, continuing to hire the right people or do the right thing, even when that may have not been the best, like, it cost you money, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
One client, one project at a time, it doesn't matter. And we treat that one client, that one project, whether it's one vanity cabinet for $500, massive kitchen for 50 grand, approaching that service level and how we treat people the same way, no matter where they live, no matter how much they spend. It's one client at a time. And I just feel like you mentioned, like, the longevity, you know, and Gary Vee, you know, this was a turning point for me. He said, make decisions based on legacy, not currency. And so far too often, as a young entrepreneur, we would look at an issue. How much is it going to cost me to fix? And I would be making decisions based on cost. Oh man, I'd find myself getting animated or a little defensive when solving a problem or issue because I knew how much it was going to cost me to do it. And now, as I've matured as a business owner, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I promise, like, whatever it costs to take care of the issue. And I've had things where it's $1,000. I've had things where it cost me $10,000. And it's not how much it costs. It's about doing the right thing. I mean, we flooded somebody's kitchen recently on accident. Cost upwards of 6 figures to redo. But we have a 5-star review from them. There couldn't have happened to better people. But the point is that it wasn't about what happened, it's about what we did about it. And far too often when something goes sideways, we look at how much it's going to cost us. We don't want to do it. You know, we think about the money attached to it versus, if I want to stay in business a long time, I've got to do the right thing. Not sometimes, all the time. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, 100%. And so it's funny. So we had this contractor in Illinois that just signed up in Chicago. And when he signed up with us, like, literally 4 weeks ago, he didn't have very many reviews. And he's getting bombarded with negative reviews right now because, like, admittedly, he said, hey, I've been screwing up. But now he's like, hey, why am I not ranking in the top 3? I said, dude, you only had 10 reviews before. And now, like, past clients are seeing, because it's blowing up all over social media. I said, like, no and this is where I think people get wrong, no marketer can go and fix up a bad brand. Whether it's you marketing yourself or you hiring an agency and doing all that. I said, like, dude, we're going to have to figure out, like, a much deeper thing, because he's like, but I want more leads. And I'm like, dude, like, I just listened to one of the phone calls that came in from an ad that we did for you, and you're a super nice guy, but you literally told the guy that, like, when he originally called, you wrote it on a Post-it note while you were at the dentist and you forgot his information, and he's on the line telling you he wants to spend 30 G's with you. Like, you don't have a marketing problem. You have a brand problem, a core value. You have all of these other problems, but, like, so many different things. And so many people work on the wrong things, right? So how have you been able to, from a 10,000 foot view, as you mentioned, work on the business, worked on, like, and prioritize what has actually mattered most to move the needle in this new phase that you guys are in?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a work in progress, right? I think the key there is identifying, like, what is the constraint, what's the bottleneck, and then working on that until you solve it versus trying to spread yourself across 5, 6 different, call them problems or bottlenecks, right? Focusing on one thing and then just driving that home until you fix it. You mentioned, you know, reviews, and I think that this goes back to that client experience, like, again, not losing sight. So I know that's surface level, but from a macro 10,000 square foot or you know, foot view, that has to be the core of the entire company. Has to understand, like, this is the goal. It's a 5-star customer experience is what we call it. Because we want to be able to ask for that 5-star review. 100%. But as you grow and you look top down, you start looking at efficiencies. You start looking at systems and processes, and where, as we scale, if we were to 2x our business or 3x or 10x, what's going to break? What do we need to be thinking about 6 to 12 months down the road? Let's start working on those things now versus when we get there, we're breaking stuff like crazy because we didn't take the time to invest in those systems, processes, and even people, training them up, right? And I think that's where I spend a lot of my time now, and I'm very passionate about teaching, coaching, training, just seeing what the team needs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we can provide the most value. So it's probably systems, processes, and then developing people.
Mm-hmm. And you're talking a little bit about team, right? So I did a training on this the other day for our team. I said, hey, like, you know, we're continuing to grow and we want to bring on great people. Mm-hmm. And I said, like, my focus has shifted to being like the leader of the people versus just like the personal brand and all that stuff. And I know some of the stuff that we talked about a couple weeks ago, but how has you showing up on social media and the company brand with all the content that you and Candice are doing, how has that started to recruit some A players that are just like, man, we want to be a part of that brand because like you guys are leading the way and we want to work for that company because of that. Cause I know you guys have had people that have been like, man, I want to be on the team. Right. Yeah. So how is the brand part of it helped?
And the bottom line is the company, the team, the experience is all direct reflection of ownership or leadership, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think we have to take pride in leading by example, leading from the front, and showing people what that looks and feels like, right? You talk about attracting A players. Well, I love using the Field of Dreams quote, which is if you build it, they will come. Yeah. But you have to build it the right way. Yeah. Right? Integrity, focus, doing the right thing, no matter what. Always providing an excellent, service. And so I think it's that lead from the front mentality. It's hard to attract those A players when you're small. Yeah. But you don't give up. You just got to keep building and we talked about, some employment stuff earlier on, this morning. And it's the good people will come. Yeah. But you got to put your time in. You've got to build something special for them to want to come over. And so then you what it's done for us is the brand is getting out there, right? More people are starting to know and understand who Premium Kitchen and Bath is. Yeah. We're starting to get designers going, hey, what are you doing over there? Competitors, hey, what are they doing over there, right? They're coming into the showroom. They want to have meetings. Every week now, somebody's coming in. They want a meeting with John and Candice. It's like, well, we can't meet with everybody, right? Yeah. But we're just getting to that state where we're attracting good talent, vendors, suppliers, software. I mean, everybody's, so it's, I don't say everybody, we're still small, right? But you know what I mean? Like it's starting to get out there. And if we weren't doing that, I don't know that we'd have the same impact. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's also one of those things where, as you mentioned, like when the competitors, when the vendors, when the designers, when everybody starts to do that, you kind of hit that spot where you're like, man, it's finally starting to pay off. But a lot of people end up breaking at that point or stopping or doing whatever because they're like, oh, we made it. So how have you at each new level you guys have gotten? Because I struggle with this. How have you been like, hey, I mean, not to say that like you get to a certain level and oh my gosh, everything changes, right? It's just like the next thing. How have you continued to like raise the bar and not, I guess, get complacent and say, oh, hey, I got here quicker than I thought or doing this and I'm doing that. How have you kind of broken through that next thing?
So when you first start out, you think when I get to that level, when I get to that, I'm going to be good. Yeah. And what you figured out is when you get to that level, you have the same amount of problems. The problems don't go away. They're just different. Yeah. Right. And you're solving bigger problems, different problems. And so I think it all ties back to, and I have my conversation with entrepreneurs all the time where it's like, it ties back to the vision and the goal. If you don't want to build something big and special with a massive company and a massive amount of people, like for us, it's more locations and going from 25, 26 employees to 100, right? Like there's some big, hairy, audacious goals out there, right? Yeah. And so I think that's where it's like, we're not going to be satisfied when we get to that, whether it's a revenue level or location level. It's like, keep going. But I think it all ties back to the vision and the why. Like, why are we doing it? And what's the overall vision for the company? And I think if you don't lose sight of that vision, then that's what keeps going level to level to level. Like, why are we doing this? Because you could build a digital marketing agency and keep it very small, be very lean. My assumption is it's not what you want to do because you've built an amazing team. Now, I know you have some goals that you're saying, hey, we're going to get to this point. Yeah. But if you only wanted to build an agency with 3 people, you could do that. Yeah. And make great money.
Well, and that's where I struggled for like the first 3 to 4 years is I had no vision. It was just like, let's see where this can go. And I don't know what I know what the turning point was, but in the moment I didn't, right? Whereas I had to start completely over. It's like, I got to go do everything smarter, more efficiently. Cause it's like, man, I lost basically what I felt like was 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I started over from the experience and the brand and all that stuff, but it was like, man, you got to start playing chess.
Yeah.
Right. And so have you always been like that with the long-term vision and the goals, or was it like a specific thing that kind of was like, hey, I really need to have my eye on that thing?
When we first started, I think I had a pretty limiting mindset.
Okay.
Because I had folks pushing me to say, hey, you're doing, call it 30 grand a month.
Yeah.
We should be doing 300, or we should be doing $1 million. And
Yeah.
I was like, we're barely doing 30.
Yeah.
How are we ever, so I didn't have, like you said, I didn't have that goal. I didn't have that vision. Didn't really understand why we were even doing what we were doing. It was just, at that point, really, it was just a job, and I wasn't working for somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's gaining the confidence that we can do it. So once we start producing, and it always goes back to the team for me. You know what I mean? It's like, once we've built that team, I'm like, oh wow, I don't have to do it all myself. And then the business starts just naturally growing, and then we're just driving in different directions with different people. I don't know if that answers it. I think I'm struggling there to say, like, what was that defining moment?
Yeah.
But I think for me, it was just proving to ourselves that we could do it. And we start having weeks where we used to be months, and months, which used to be quarters. Well, I'm going, oh, wait a second. It started opening in my mind that, hey, it's a lot more possible here.
Yeah.
And we just got to stay on the path. And it goes back to that long journey. It's not going to happen overnight. You don't open your doors and people start, open up. Yeah.
Yeah. So has Candice always been in the business?
I think she just hit 10 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So she had a job. I think she was in liquor sales, then she was in pharmaceutical sales.
Yeah.
Kind of just grew to hate it. Money was good, but she just didn't really enjoy it, and kind of saw what we were doing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we would not be the company that we're today. Like, the vision of the showrooms, the big kitchens that we do, the bringing the construction in house, that's all a testament. I always joke, like, if it was still me, I'd be in a 10 by 10 office on graph paper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just flying by the seat of my pants.
Well, that's what I remember you telling me, like, even a couple of years ago, you're like, hey, she really has the vision for the kitchen and bath side to, like, take this thing to the next level and all that stuff. And I just thought that was so cool. So, like, how has that, like, evolved your guys' marriage? And like, that's the question I always have for people that are in it together. It's like, hey, like, I can only imagine trying to separate business and personal with, like, a friend or somebody that much less, your significant other.
Date nights become work meetings.
Yeah.
But here, look, we are that couple who just really loves and enjoys spending time. Like, we do everything together.
Yeah.
And not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
Right? In the beginning, people are like, there's no way I would do it. Like, I would kill him. I would kill her. Like, I couldn't spend that much time with my spouse.
Yeah.
We're the exact opposite. So for me, like, there's no better person to partner with and have in the business than your spouse. To have your back.
Yeah.
Right? You have the same goals, the same vision. Like, so it's you have a sounding board.
Yeah.
Now it's difficult at times to separate that, because you do tend to bring it home. But I look around at the lifestyle that we've built and the team that we've built and the families that we're responsible for, and say, like, it's gonna take over some of our time.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that. When we first started, though, it was 2 chiefs, no Indians. We had a very hard time segregating duties and, like, who was who and whatnot. That was a struggle for a first year or two. Team members didn't know who to go to for certain things. So we had to gain clarity amongst ourselves. Say, hey, what's your role?
Yeah.
What's my role? Let's stay out of each other's lane. This is what you're good at. This is what you enjoy. This is what I'm good at. This is what I enjoy. And now let's go run together versus both going, like, we're both owners. You know what I mean? And it just created a lot of conflict. So we worked through that. It's not easy. It takes a special couple and a lot of work and a lot of dedication to make it work. But you ask her, like, we wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, no. I mean, and you can see that through you guys creating the content together, and just, like, seeing you guys up here and just seeing you guys do your thing. You're like, that's a power couple, but they have it. Obviously, there's always going to be opportunities for improvement, but, like, you guys have something that most people don't. And when you have that, it's like, man, like, they're going to be, like, a force to reckon with, and like anything is possible. That's why, like, as I continue to hear you guys, I'm like, you guys are going to do it. It's just a matter of like when and all the different pieces coming together. And so that's just cool to see. And I can only imagine from your employee standpoint, right? To see you guys do that together, to see your kids around, like, that's just got to be a cool thing for them to be around, to be like, hey, we're a part of the family too.
Yeah. I mean, I think I hope it's cool, right? But it also can get heated at times where it's like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, you work for mom and pop. This is where we're still a small company. And mom and dad are going to have a tiff every now and then, right? And so we try to, because again, it isn't sunshines and rainbows all the time. And so we try to separate that and try to keep it behind closed doors if we're not aligning on something. But it's not all peaches and creams. But I do think you bring in the family aspect. You know, our three boys are around the shop. They play with our warehouse guys. They're building cabinets. They're cleaning the warehouse, you know? And so I think it's just, we've always led. I hope we can keep that intact as we continue to grow because it's important to us. But we also say like, hey, this is a phase of our life in business. When we have 5, 10, 20 stores, they're probably not running in all of the stores. It'll just be a different business, but they're a big part of the phase right now.
Yeah, it's cool. So you talk about some of the growth. So share with us kind of where all this stuff's going, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. So we've got a vision that we want to. We're located in Fenton, right? And we really do a good job serving about 10 to 15 miles away from that. What we found is that folks that are, call it 20, 25 miles away, they don't leave those suburbs. You know, the St. Charles, St. Petersville found, they're not coming down here to purchase. So we want to start getting into those markets and open up satellite showrooms and really building out the city of St. Louis. And we think that 5 to 7 stores is what the market can handle. But, you know, but I say I because I was spearheading it, came very close to open up a second location twice. And the first time my team all raised their hands, said, terrible idea. And it was a blessing in disguise. And then just this year in January, I had a lease on another spot and we were all on board and that fell through. And as I look back, we've got to get our systems, our processes, our onboarding. We've got to get some things dialed in. And this location has to run without John and Candice so that we can go do that. And we've been very much with the mentality that like, oh, we can just do it. We'll figure it out. It's probably not the best way to go do it. So it's going to be expansion into those locations, but also looking at how do we vertically integrate products, services, materials that we're subbing out right now. So that's going to take some time. It's going to take the right people, but I'd say that's probably in a nutshell. The next step is store locations and vertical integration.
That's awesome. Well, I'm super excited for you guys. I can't wait to see it all.
We're pumped.
Yeah. Well, John, thanks for coming in, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. Any last piece of advice that you'd like to leave with somebody, entrepreneur that's listening to this, that maybe struggling, maybe trying to figure out, like, should I continue on this path? How do I continue to build the brand when stuff gets tough? Anything that you'd like to leave them with? Yeah, the only way that you lose is if you quit. You're going to have to be okay with getting punched in the teeth. You know, they're going to be tough days and you're going to want to quit. And, you know, we're going on 13, 14 years of this. And there's been times where I wanted to quit. There's been times where we shouldn't have made it. No cash, you know, occupancy issues. I could literally go on a whole tangent about all the problems we've had. But you look back and those were learning lessons. And I think, again, you just don't quit. And I think the other part is you're not by yourself. And that's what I would like to lend is I would love to get to a point where I can help other entrepreneurs because somebody once took me under their wing. And I would be remiss if I didn't, you know, attribute some of the success or taking the leap from corporate to entrepreneurship without having somebody nudge and push and coach and guide me to make that jump. Right. And so I want to at some point be able to give back, you know, to those starting or struggling entrepreneurs. I'm not coaching anybody right now, but I think, you know, I would like to lend a hand to those that need it and just say, just don't quit. That's the most important thing. Love it. Great piece of advice, John. Where can people learn more about Premium Kitchen and Bath? Where's the showroom at? All that good stuff.
So our showroom's located in Fenton, 1666 Larkin Williams Road. We've got a great web presence. Premium Kitchen and Bath is on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram. We post a lot of our content, our finished pictures. I'd say web is first. Go out, do your research, find more about us. And if you think we're a good fit for your project, we'd love to at least have a conversation.
Love it. Well, thank you for listening to the episode today. If you're listening on your podcasting platform, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Those reviews definitely help us push the needle. If you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment with what you learned, share it on social media so that way we can get this stuff out to more people. We appreciate you supporting the show as always. And remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.